We're all still reeling from the incredible things that were shown at this year's Gamescom, but the games are still coming fast and furious, so let's break down all the biggest bits of Xbox news from Gamescom 2023 live from the show floor. Now, where else could we possibly kick off than with the game on everybody's mind, Starfield? Todd Howard and Pete Hines both stopped by to try and convey the immense scale of their new action RPG. Hines admitted that he'd still only scratched the surface of it himself, despite having put some 150 odd hours already. With all the side quests to do, settlements to build, planets to explore, and sandwiches to steal, it's no surprise. According to Howard, Starfield is the sort of game where the more you put in, the more you'll get back. But it really sounds like Starfield will let you play in whatever way you want to. And going by what I've seen so far, I'm more than happy to put everything into it. Persona isn't the only series that's got more demonic delights to send our way. Diablo IV's second season looks more enticing every time we see it, as well as the vampiric new powers it'll give gamers to play with and the undead hordes they'll have to unleash them on. The Season of Blood will introduce new legendary items and weapons into the mix as well. Charleyy got to sit down with Rod Ferguson and Chris Wilson, and it sounds like a hoot. And for Diablo players who like to plan ahead, it sounds like Diablo IV's third season will add leaderboards too. Also coming straight to Game Pass, the isometric actioner 33 Immortals promises some of the most chaotically fun multiplayer on Xbox. But don't worry if you don't have 32 buddies available at a moment's notice, because the developers have got you covered. The game will feature rapid, seamless matchmaking so players can get straight into the thick of the action, while you'll also be able to party up with your buddies to go raiding together. We also got a look at the game's class system, which is tied to the weapons. Pick up the Bow of Hope to focus on range combat, or use the Justic Sword's guard ability to tank your way through combat. Each run will give you the chance to further refine your playstyle with a robust selection of perks to unlock. Oh, and that message saying new torture chamber opens? Don't worry about that. I'm sure that's fine. There is simply always something happening in the wonderful winged world of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And Jorg Newman was kind enough to make a stopover in Cologne to tell me about two awesome new updates which are available right now. The first is City Update number 4, which focuses on Western Europe, adding detailed new versions of places like Ghent, Rotterdam, Luxembourg, and even Cologne Airport, which we flew into for Gamescom. Jorg also showed me the 12th local legend, an iconic German aircraft called the Dornier Do X. This one he told me was particularly close to his heart. Designed to compete with luxury cruise liners, think Titanic, only 3 of these ostentatious skyboats were ever made, but there is currently a project to build another in time for its 100th anniversary in 2029. I hope they keep the wallpaper. Microsoft Flight Simulator players will be able to check it out a bit earlier than that. We also got some expert advice on what to look out for in Age of Empires IV Anniversary Edition, the glorious new console version of the game, which was stealth dropped onto Game Pass during opening night live. It has been outfitted with all sorts of clever new mechanics which make strategizing from the comfort of your couch an absolute dream. The villager priority system allows you to easily divvy up your people between different tasks, and it even offers specific preset options for different stages of the game which were designed by pro players. Although if you think you can do better, you're also free to design your own, and be sure to share them with us in the comments. But to really get to grips with the game, you should check out The Rise of the King, a new 5-mission campaign which serves as an in-depth tutorial while also telling a riveting historical tale. And finally, those of you who were born to tinker will be delighted to learn that the Anniversary Edition of Age of Empires IV supports mods from launch. Henry spoke to CD Projekt Red's Gabriel Amantangelo all about Phantom Liberty. Cyberpunk 2077's new major expansion Phantom Liberty will be here on September 26, bringing with it a brand new area for players to explore, the decidedly shady looking Dogtown. Plus all sorts of exciting new systems to spice up the game. Revamped skill trees will allow players to seriously specialize their playstyles, whether they want to be a bullet-blocking cyber ninja or a Terminator-style brute. They've got their own line of heavy-duty vehicles too, which you'll get to engage in the all-new vehicular combat. The game's targeting system makes it easy to become a full-blown road warrior, but if you'd like a little more finesse, you can free aim and go straight for the enemy's tires and gas tanks. Oh, and don't worry if you're a newcomer to Night City, players who pick up Phantom Liberty can jump straight into its questline and are also free to flip between it and the core game's content. Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl looks more eerily impressive and impressively eerie each time we see it. And now we have a firm idea of when we get to head into the exclusion zone. The game is set to arrive in the first quarter of next year. Jusant developers also showed up and chatted to me on their meditative mountain climbing game, including just what the heck Jusant actually means. It's basically the French version of the word ebb, like ebb and flow, and refers to the receding of the tide. And it's also called that because Jusant takes place in a world where all the water has receded right out of view. Apart from this one little adorable water-based critter that you carry around on your shoulder, Belast. One thing we already knew about Jusant is that it's an incredible chill game, but it turns out it's even more relaxing than we thought because you actually can't die. The rope around your waist will always catch you if you fall, but while your rope might be limited, your possibilities are almost endless with multiple routes up each section of the mountain. You can climb your own way at your own pace, and you can start climbing on October 31st when the game arrives directly onto Xbox Game Pass. They say that the key to getting over your fear of something is learning more about it, but the more we find out about Alan Wake 2, the more frightening it appears. Charleyy spoke to Sam Lake and Kyle Rowley all about the long-awaited sequel, chatting psychological horror and how Alan Wake 2 is designed for and stuffed with Easter eggs for long-time fans of Alan Wake and Control, but newcomers will also find it totally accessible on its own. The game footage we've seen looks positively bone-chilling, and players will be able to get their own spines well and truly shivered from October 27th. Game Pass fans also have the entire Yakuza series to bludgeon their way through, and the future of the franchise is looking exceptionally exciting too. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name is a new adventure starring the series' iconic protagonist, Kazuma Kiryu, and takes place between his last appearance in Yakuza 6 and the upcoming Infinite Wealth. This time around, players will be laying down the smackdown inside an elite, adults-only theme park known as the Castle, and they'll be doing so by using all kinds of high-tech gadgets like drones and smart bombs. And if that all sounds a bit too newfangled, don't worry, the game will also feature plenty of familiar faces from past games, along with the wealth of side stories and mini-games that fans have come to expect. And it will be available from November 9th. There were plenty of titles on show that players will have to wait patiently for, but if you're itching for some action, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon will be available on the 25th of August. From Software's mech-based actioner features several mechanics from their previous games, including a stagger mechanic known as the Attitude Control System that will feel like second nature for Sekiro players. It also has extensive customization and build options for your own mech, through weapons, armor pieces like plasma blade swords, different missile launchers, machine guns, and other deliciously destructive implements. And you can even choose what color to paint it. It may have only fluttered by for the briefest of Gamescom appearances, but Game Pass members will have plenty of time to familiarize themselves with Pigeon Simulator when it arrives as a day one release next year. We got an even more in-depth look at the historical strategy game ARA History Untold. One fascinating thing we learned about is that while the historical leaders that players will have to select from includes plenty of famous generals and politicians, it also features a number of cultural and political leaders, like the legendary lady-loving poet Sappho. From there, they'll be free to build up their civilization however they like, pursuing science, making peace, or conquering everyone in sight. The leader you pick has an effect on this, with their own selection of traits that impacts the game, so try to plan ahead. Over the course of each playthrough, you'll encounter over 100 different types of resources, from bare bones building materials to things like books and candles, which can help you to raise the education level of your populace. So it's safe to say you'll be plenty busy when ARA History Untold comes straight to PC Game Pass next year. Things got off to an exhilarating start as Benny got a high with the City Skylines crew, about 150 feet high to be precise. It gave them one heck of a view of Cologne and an even better view of the city building sequel, which has all sorts of new features for players to be excited about. Every single citizen in your metropolis has their own rich interior life, as well as their own unique set of needs. They also have their own names, but you can change them if you like. And best of all, you get to follow them all the way through their lives, getting updates on all their biggest moments. Once they're on the move, City Skylines 2 traffic AI has been spruced up that they can get where they're going in a much more intelligent and dynamic way. And since the map is about 5 times bigger than the first games, you'll really appreciate how travel savvy they all are. And you can start your own City Skylines 2 journey on October 24th when it comes straight to Game Pass. Which Gamescom game would you be willing to be hoisted hundreds of feet into the air for? Let me know in the comments. I'd probably choose Towerborne. Okay, next up, Charleyy and I sat down with the brilliant minds behind Gamescom's most brilliantly mindless game, Party Animals. What ensued was absolute animal anarchy as corgis, cats, and one especially well-dressed goose went to town on one another. Like a young Anakin Skywalker, I discovered that rolling is indeed a good trick, while also just swinging wildly in every direction also seems to be a really solid tactic. We got a taste of both the Rocket League basketball-esque buzzball mode as well as the Battle Royale style last stand match with a nice nautical bent to it. But I cannot express enough how much fun this game is, and it is a guaranteed good time no matter what mode you're playing it. With 20 maps, over 30 animals to play as, and over 200 unique looks to kit them out in, Party Animals promises to have plenty of variety once the full game arrives day one on Game Pass on September 20th. Then it was time to head to New Jersey to take on a very special mission with the Payday crew. Ice-T's very special mission sees players making their way through a cargo dock to steal some high-value tech, and seeing it in action will give you a really good sense of how the third game has improved on the series' criminally entertaining formula. Payday 3 is being built with the Unreal 4 engine and will be upgraded to Unreal 5 post-launch, so it runs like a dream while still retaining that Payday feel. And it will be available on Game Pass from September 21st. I rounded out our time at Gamescom by cozying up on the couch with the Towerborne devs to enjoy some good old-fashioned local co-op hacking and slashing. Towerborne kicks off with the titular tower where the last surviving members of mankind are hanging out. When the game launches for real, on Game Pass sometime next year since you asked, the tower will act as a kind of social hub where you'll be able to see tons of other players and show off your gear and also customize your character there. And if you don't have 3 willing warriors sat on your couch, then you can also matchmake with some online, while Towerborne is also completely playable in single player. Once you head out into the game's vast fantasy world, you'll find plenty of angry little monsters for you to beat up and plenty of ways to do it. We got to check out 2 weapons, the War Club and the Sword and Shield combo. My favorite was the War Club that had this really cool missile blaster. And the full game will launch with 4, and the way you mix and match these weapons with other bits of gear also allows you to tailor your character's class. Classic co-op brawling with slick modern graphics and constant freshness of a live service game, it really is a recipe for success, and I had so much fun playing the 15 minutes I did. I cannot wait for full release. And if you can't wait either, you should definitely check out Towerborne's Insider program to sign up and help provide feedback to the developers. Can you believe all the amazing games featured in this year's Gamescom? I really can't. Hit the comments to tell us all about your favorites, and thank you if you tuned in to the live broadcast. You're the best. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Bye!